Imagine this moment. You are sitting in a meeting. A colleague begins presenting an idea. It is simple, clear, unexpectedly good. The room reacts immediately. People nod. Someone writes notes. The manager smiles. When the presentation ends, the room becomes lively. That's a strong idea. We should explore this. Your colleague receives praise. You clap along with everyone else. You even say, "Nice work." But something uncomfortable quietly appears in your mind. A small thought. Why do their ideas always seem to shine? Why do they get the attention? You are not angry, but you feel something else. Something subtle. Something many professionals experience. A quiet form of professional envy. Not loud, not obvious, but powerful enough to start a silent competition. If you have worked in any organization long enough, you know this feeling. You congratulate a coworker for a promotion. You send the polite message in the team chat. Congratulations, well deserved. But later that evening, when you sit alone, the mind starts comparing. They joined after me. How did they move up faster? Why does the boss trust them more? This comparison does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it appears in subtle ways. You scroll through LinkedIn and see a colleague announcing a new leadership role. You pause for a second longer than usual. Your stomach tightens. A study by Dr. Leon Festinger, a social psychologist who developed social comparison theory in 1954, explains why this happens. Festinger observed that humans naturally evaluate themselves by comparing with others. When people around us succeed, our brain instinctively asks a question: where do I stand? This comparison is not evil. It is human. But when comparison turns into envy, something dangerous begins to form. The silent competition. No one declares it. No one announces it. Yet it quietly shapes behavior inside teams, friendships, and even families. Today we explore why professional envy is so powerful, and how an ancient idea from Buddhist philosophy called mudita can dissolve it in a way modern productivity advice rarely understands. Let us look at a situation many professionals recognize. A young project manager spends weeks preparing a proposal. Late nights, careful slides, detailed research. The presentation goes well. People say nice things, but the promotion goes to someone else. The official explanation is simple. They have stronger leadership presence. On the surface, you accept it. But internally, the mind begins its quiet calculations. Maybe they speak more confidently. Maybe they are closer to the manager. Maybe the system is unfair. Then the comparisons start multiplying. Their salary, their recognition, their opportunities. Slowly, the workplace transforms in your mind. It stops being a team. It becomes a scoreboard. This psychological pattern has been studied extensively. Dr. Richard Smith, a professor of psychology at the University of Kentucky who researches envy, explains that envy often emerges when three conditions appear together. First, the other person is similar to you. Second, they succeed in an area that matters to you. Third, their success feels undeserved or threatening. That combination ignites envy quickly. And in modern corporate culture, those conditions are everywhere. Coworkers are similar. Success is constantly measured. Recognition is public. Promotion lists are announced. Performance metrics are shared. The environment unintentionally fuels silent comparison every day. But here is the deeper problem. Professional envy rarely shows itself openly. Instead, it hides behind polite behavior. You congratulate someone, but internally feel uneasy. You support a project but secretly hope it fails. You collaborate, but mentally track who gets credit. This creates a strange emotional contradiction. Outward cooperation, inner competition. Over time, this tension drains energy and erodes trust. And most people do not even realize it is happening. Envy does not only affect relationships, it affects mental clarity. When the mind constantly compares itself to others, attention becomes fragmented. Instead of focusing on work, part of the brain scans the environment for status signals. Who is getting attention? Who is rising faster? Who the manager praises? This constant monitoring creates cognitive stress. Research published in the journal Emotion by psychologist Niels van de Ven shows that envy often produces two emotional responses. One is malicious envy. This form pushes people to want others to lose their advantage. The other is benign envy. This form motivates people to improve themselves. The difference depends largely on mindset. If we believe success is scarce, envy becomes hostile. If we believe success can be shared, envy becomes motivating. Unfortunately, modern workplace culture often frames success as a limited resource. Only one person gets promoted. Only one person wins the award. Only one idea receives recognition. So the brain quietly assumes a harsh rule. If they win, I lose. This belief fuels the silent competition. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if the real problem is not your coworker's success? What if the deeper problem is the mental model your mind uses to interpret it? And what if an ancient Buddhist practice developed more than 2,000 years ago offers a surprisingly practical way to break this pattern? That practice is called mudita, and understanding it could change how you experience success, competition, and even collaboration. Mudita is a concept from early Buddhist teachings. It is often translated as sympathetic joy. It means feeling genuine happiness for the success and well-being of others. Not polite happiness, not forced positivity, but real joy when someone else thrives. Mudita is one of the 4 Brahmaviharas in Buddhist philosophy. These are 4 qualities the Buddha described as noble states of mind. They include loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. The historical Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama, taught that cultivating these mental states reduces suffering and improves relationships. Mudita specifically targets envy, because envy and mudita cannot exist at the same time. If you truly feel joy for someone's success, envy disappears naturally. At first, this idea sounds unrealistic. How can anyone genuinely feel happy when someone else gets the promotion you wanted? But the practice of mudita does not start with pretending. It starts with understanding a simple truth about human psychology. Another person's success does not reduce your potential, yet our brain often assumes it does. Many professionals grow up in environments where success is ranked. School grades, university admissions, corporate promotions. These systems teach a subtle lesson. Success is limited. Only a few people can win. This conditioning becomes deeply internalized. So when a coworker succeeds, the brain interprets it like a loss. But this interpretation is often inaccurate. In knowledge-based industries, value creation is not zero-sum. A strong team member can actually expand opportunities. For example, if a colleague's leadership improves a department's performance, the entire team may gain visibility. If someone develops a successful product idea, it may create new roles and new projects. But envy blinds the mind to these possibilities. Instead, it narrows perception. You only see the comparison, not the expanded potential. Mudita reopens that perception. Let us return to the earlier scenario. Your colleague receives recognition for an idea. Your first reaction may still be envy. That reaction is normal. Mudita does not demand suppressing that feeling. Instead, it invites a shift in perspective. You pause. You ask a different question. What if their success benefits the team? What can I learn from what they did well? Can I allow myself to appreciate the value they created? This shift sounds small, but neurologically, it changes the emotional pattern. Instead of activating defensive comparison, the brain activates curiosity and appreciation. Over time, this practice transforms how competition feels. The workplace stops looking like a battlefield. It starts looking like a learning environment. And interestingly, people who naturally express mudita often gain unexpected advantages. They become trusted collaborators. Others feel comfortable sharing ideas with them. Leaders notice their supportive attitude. In many organizations, these qualities quietly accelerate career growth, not through manipulation, but through genuine connection. Consider two employees. Both are talented. Both want to grow. Employee A constantly compares themselves with others. When coworkers succeed, they feel threatened. They work hard, but their attention is divided between improvement and monitoring rivals. Employee B takes a different approach. They celebrate colleagues' successes. They ask questions. They learn from strong performers. Over several years, something interesting happens. Employee A becomes isolated. People sense the tension. Collaboration becomes cautious. Employee B becomes a hub of cooperation. People share insights. Opportunities circulate. Eventually, the difference becomes visible. Not because one person worked harder, but because one mindset created openness while the other created hidden competition. Mudita does not mean abandoning ambition. It means removing the emotional poison that distorts ambition. The Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, one of the most influential Buddhist teachers of the 20th century, often spoke about interconnected happiness. He explained that our well-being cannot be separated from the well-being of others. When people around us thrive, conditions for our own happiness expand. This idea challenges the modern obsession with individual success, because in reality, human progress is deeply collaborative. Every innovation stands on previous contributions. Every organization depends on collective effort. Mudita simply aligns our emotions with this reality. Instead of resisting others' success, we learn to appreciate it. And this appreciation reduces internal tension. Your energy returns to what truly matters. Your own growth, your own creativity, your own work. Professional envy is not a sign of weakness. It is a natural psychological response shaped by comparison. But leaving it unexamined creates silent competition that slowly drains motivation and trust. Mudita offers a different path. Not forced positivity, not denial, but a trained ability to recognize that success can expand rather than shrink opportunity. The next time a colleague succeeds, notice your first reaction. Do not judge it. Just observe it. Then try a small shift. Ask yourself one simple question. What if their success is not my loss? That single question can begin dissolving the silent competition. And when that competition fades, something surprising appears. Clarity, calm, and a new kind of strength that does not depend on defeating others. If this perspective helped you see workplace competition differently, consider subscribing to the channel. Here we explore practical ways ancient Eastern wisdom can help solve modern psychological stress. Share this video with someone who works in a competitive environment. Sometimes a simple shift in perspective can transform an entire career. And if you have ever experienced silent competition at work, write your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else realize they are not alone.